going on? Everybody, what's up? How you doing? And welcome back to another episode of The Welch Report with me, Jean-Luc Welch. Make some noise. Clap it up, get excited wherever you are. We're back. Oh, yes, indeed. We are back at our new start time, 12 o'clock. That's right. We're making this show bigger and better for all of you trying to get a feel of what everybody wants to tune in for. And this is the time, this is the place, and this is the hottest show in all the globe for you to find out anything and everything in the world of sports as a whole, whether it be basketball, whether it be boxing, and anything under the sun. We talk about the biggest stories and the biggest news for you all to see, hear, and debate and enjoy. And we got a great show for you today, jam-packed with nothing but action with Ben Rodriguez and Boots Ennis both returning to the ring this weekend, on top of the fact that we also have major news, or rather major final predictions, as Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul is indeed next week. Oh yes, we talked about it earlier last week, but we're going to give our official full-blown breakdown and talk about something that Jake Paul has not experienced yet in the boxing sphere, going up against an even 60-year-old Mike Tyson. All that and much more on this show for you today. Thank you so much for tuning in and listening. And please, before we even get started, leave a like on the video, comment your thoughts and opinions, subscribe to the channel, and share the show with everybody that you know, so we can keep on building up this empire together. We have a strong community. We're growing by the minute, growing by the day, and it's all thanks to you and what you've done for this channel. And we are so excited, hey, to be here. We're happy. And again, if we got anything wrong with the stream, please go on and tell us. Also, we're available on every podcasting platform imaginable. We're talking Spotify, Apple Podcasts, you name it, we're there. And if we're not, we're get there. And we got an open chat for you to debate, talk, have some fun, discuss whatever you want to discuss. Get your thoughts in and join in on the show. This is as much your show as it is mine, and we can make this into a phenomenal affair, all with you and your interaction and support. But again, without further ado, we got so much to discuss, and let's jump right into the world of sports right now. And we got to talk about boxing first and foremost. And since we're talking about boxing, it is time to step into the ring. Oh yeah, that's right. Ring the bell. Let's get it started. Round one of this show going underway, as we have a plethora of things that we could talk about for the first topic. But I think what we're going to discuss is, before the big fights of Boots and Ben Rodriguez, we're going to touch on Mike Tyson one more time. That's right. We're going to do it again. We've talked about this fight multiple times before. We've discussed what exactly is going to be the biggest pitfall for why Jake Paul would win. Would be because of age. Would be because of youth. Would be because of the legitimate power that he's got in his right hand. It is something, I don't care who he's fought, it is a legitimate obstacle for people to face. Yo, Mike, Mapai, what's going on, brother? How you doing? Thank you for joining in on the show. So glad that you're here at our new start time of 12 o'clock. Absolutely. Share the show with everybody that you can to get people in. Go on and leave a like on the video, or on the channel, excuse me, to get the stream out there in the ethos of the sports sphere and just on YouTube as a whole. But again, talking about Mike Tyson, talk about Jake Paul, how this fight's going to go as our final prediction for this mega event that will be a mega event. This is going to be an event that brings potentially the biggest audience that boxing has seen in the modern day, matching or maybe potentially overarching the likes of Floyd versus Manny Pacquiao, because it's on Netflix, because it's for the world to see, and because it's two of some of the most, we'll say, infamous and iconic figures in the sports world, or just in the media world as a whole today, with Mike Tyson, the old legend, the icon, the closest thing we have to a Muhammad Ali-like figure in the living world today, as well as Jake Paul, the most infamous and probably one of the most hated people in the world today, at least in America, at minimum. People despise that, but now these two are going to clash. Money's going to be made. Eyes are going to be on the sport, and the likelihood right now, sadly, is that Jake Paul will win. It's a disgusting thought. It's a horrid thing to think about, a horrid thing to even have as a notion of what's going to be for this fight. But it's the hard truth of the matter. There is a legitimate cause to say Jake Paul should be the favorite. Absolutely. And as we break down the fight fully, why would that be the case? Well, one is because of the fact that you have somebody like Jake Paul, like I just said earlier, youth and experience, on top of the legitimate power. Every fight he's gone into, he is still a bump Let's not get it twisted. He is still an outright trash fighter. That's not changing at all. But what will change is now he's less trash than he used to be. And while that may mean nothing in the grand scheme of his actual boxing tenure for this fight with Mike Tyson, that may be just enough only because of the age that we see Mike Tyson at. And with age comes fragility. With age comes a legitimate cause to be concerned about whether he can take a shot, whether he can take a punch, whether or not the power of Jake Paul, even if it grazes him, is going to be something that throws his brother off and takes his brother out potentially. And again, this is crazy to say from Mike Tyson. We have to live in the reality of what we are in today. This is a 60-year-old man coming in and fighting somebody who is 30 years his youthful, hasn't fought since Roy Jones Jr., and before that hasn't fought in 20 years professionally on a consistent basis. Since all of this is whirling around, there's a legitimate reason to say there should be fear. And the biggest thing is, what is it that Mike's going to do when he steps into the ring? How is he going to look when it comes to his ability to box? That's the biggest thing. We see the training. We see the workouts. But what we don't see is in ring, how does all that translate to? Is he still going to be doing the slipping and moving at the same intensity and instinctual ability that we knew him for in the past, that we even see him do while he's in training camp? Is that going to be the same? Or is it going to be that we see this brother when he steps into the ring, another Evander Holyfield situation, he goes in and he looks great. He looks phenomenal. He looks stupendous. But as a whole, he is not there. Just like with Evander Holyfield. The brother was somebody who is indeed was great, is great, absolutely phenomenal. But at the same time, he looked phenomenal but couldn't play the part. The boxing abilities wasn't there. And again, we saw how he was when it was against Vitor Belfort, when Evander Holyfield returned to the ring. Oh, was it Thriller, something like that? And we saw what happened. He looked great, but then Vitor Belfort, while he was souped up on drugs, understand that, still went through and ran through him. And it was just because the coordination wasn't there. The body just couldn't do what the mind wanted to do. That's the fear with Mike Tyson. But when it comes to, on the flip side, Mike Tyson, this is why I'm going to pick what I've been going against just about this entire time. This is exactly why. This is why I'm picking Mike Tyson to win this fight. This is why I'm doing it. And it's because of two things. One is the experience. You have to understand that this is a man who has seen it all, done it all, and has been through it all. And as a man, he ate, slept, and breathed boxing. He is not just one of the greatest of all time just because, he was the best of his era. In all the annals of boxing history, there were few people that committed themselves to the sport so relentlessly and so ferociously as Cus D'Amato forced Mike Tyson to do. It was all that kept him legitimately from dying. That is what Mike Tyson was. When in his heyday, how he got into the sport. Then when he actually kept on fighting, the brother turned into a well fine-tuned machine, the likes of which that at his best, though his prime was incredibly short, it was an understood thing that if Mike Tyson fought any great, he would most likely beat them of any era. Because at the best of the best, that man was the best thing we had seen since Ali. That is not something that is hyperbole. That is legitimate. On top of the fact that when it comes to the physical gifts of Mike Tyson, we're looking at this man, and we've talked about this before, but this is a different story. What we saw Mike at his physical prime when he got out of jail, he had degraded when it came to his ability as a boxer. Don King took him out. In terms of took out all of his people that trusted him. Cus D'Amato went away, legitimately died, sadly. Rooney was out. Teddy Atlas was out. All that in the wilds of life hurt that man to the core, ruined his prime, physical prime. But when it came to now, if you've seen Mike Tyson of recently, the brother looks in the best shape since he got out of jail. And I don't say that as just hyperbole. I say that legitimately. On top of the fact that he is now mentally focused to be able to to commit to the fundamentals of boxing without losing himself to the wiles of boxing. With age now came maturity, and with maturity came experience in how to deal with the biggest battle that every person, boxer or not, has to face, which is the battle of the mind. And he was able to not just overcome it, but conquer it. He was able to thrive in it. He was able to make himself the biggest weapon by conquering the main thing that was taking him out. The mental game, the emotional game, the internal struggle. Now that we are with this type of Mike Tyson, who physically looks as great as we have seen him in a long time, even despite him being 60, regardless of age, and on top of the fact that we see that Mike Tyson is now in a mental state where he can control the rage. This is where we see that he can legitimately be able to use everything that we saw glimpses of in Roy Jones Jr., that we saw at his best when he was in his prime, though he's not at his prime in the slightest. We could see that take place and the brother actually get Jake Paul out of it. It is entirely possible. It's entirely possible. That is not something that is out the question. You have to understand, when we look at Jake Paul versus this Mike Tyson, one is experience, like I just touched on. Secondly, fear. There is a fear that Jake Paul has never experienced in his life. There is an aura of domination that people to this day, Francis Ngannou has talked about it. Sugar Ray Leonard has talked about it. Every boxer that's been in the presence of Mike Tyson, even now, understands there is a different level of aggression, intensity, and just overwhelming, dominating dominion over whatever space he takes up. Again, if anybody's a One Piece fan, watch his anime. We've talked about this countless times. Conqueror's Hockey. Something that when you walk in a room, when you lock in, or even just when you're around and about, it's a situation where you don't know if you can withstand the presence of somebody who has Conqueror's Hockey in the show One Piece, unless you've been in the presence of it. And when you get in the presence of it, like with Luffy, like with Shanks, like with, Whitebeard, my favorite character, we're looking at a man, if you can't stand up to the dominating presence and the outright will, you fall flat and you pass out. Boxers have talked about that when they stepped into the ring. Michael Spinks felt that when he was in another locker room getting ready to fight Mike Tyson. Every single person, every interview I've come across, there's a different feel of, oh my gosh, I'm never going to be the biggest man in the room. Francis Ngannou felt that same thing when he met with Mike Tyson, and he's buddy-buddy with the brother. This is what Jake Paul has never experienced before. And in every person that Jake Paul has faced off against in his career, it has always been either A, incredibly below his weight, B, incredibly inexperienced and not even a boxer, or C, if they are boxers, like his last three have been, they are bottom of the barrel, absolute garbage. And I don't say that with disrespect. I say that with that is what it is. Disrespect is nowhere in this analysis. This is the truth of the matter. Jake Paul has faced off against nobody. And the one actual relative somebody in Tommy Fury, he got outboxed it. Even though we understand he's knocked down just about every person he has faced off against. We get that. From Ben Askren to Tyron Woodley to Anderson Silva to Tommy Fury to the last two brothers that he knocked out. We get it. But what you have to understand is that the man still is fighting bum competition that have no way in the world understood truly what it means to be a boxer. That is what he's facing with Mike Tyson. And the fear on top of the knowledge that Mike Tyson presents is something that Jake Paul will feel and will truly regret potentially. Because you have to understand. And again, Franklin, brother, what's up? How you doing? I'm glad you joined the show. Welcome in. Welcome in. Sorry I saw you coming late. But we here. We live at our new start time of 12 o'clock so everybody can catch the show. At least that's what the polls say. If y'all lied to me, hey, that's on y'all. But we committing to this and we're going to make this show the best that it can be. Absolutely. Right now we're talking about Mike Tyson and Jake Paul, a final prediction for the fight. And I am picking Mike Tyson to upset everybody and knock out Jake Paul. And it's due to the fact that, again, experience is going to be on his side. And while we understand that he's 60, We get that. We understand that the fear that Mike Tyson brings makes people go below what their level is as a boxer. That's what he does. And because Mike Tyson is fear incarnate. You have to understand that. Tyson, even now, is the embodiment of domination and outright paranoia. Fear is both mentally and physically. He has mastered the art of dominating any room, any presence, making you wary to go anywhere. This is the same brother who punked Michael Jordan for talking to a woman that he was interested in when he was in a club. And this is when Jordan was at the heights of his grandeur as a ball player. On the Bulls, multiple time champion, had repeated, was looked at that point in time as the greatest in history. Everybody revered him when he walked in the room. Mike Tyson stepped up to him and punked that brother out. Oh, you can read about it, hear about it. There's multiple stories, multiple accounts. I ain't lying. This is what Mike Tyson does to people. There's been very few people that have done this to this degree, like Tyson. That's what we're gonna see Jake Paul run into. An outright wall of fear, coupled with finally execution that Jake Paul has never experienced before. The execution of Mike Tyson, even at this age, if it is the same as what we saw when he fought against Roy Jones Jr., dare I say better, and if it's the same that we see in training camp, and if his body is indeed a physical anomaly that we have seen him as, and is able to make it so that he can do the things that we saw relatively close to what he was even at the tail end of his prime, he's going to knock him out. He's going to do it. He knows how to set up shots. He knows how to set up more than just the right hand that we know Jake Paul only is able to do. We know Jake Paul, while he's got power, he is somebody who, if he's pressured, he's in trouble. This is what everything that we see Jake Paul falter at as a boxer is what Mike Tyson excelled at in making his opponents absolutely quit and get destroyed. And as we go blow for blow, punch for punch, breaking down this fight, we're looking at this. This is how I see the fight's going to go. We see Mike Tyson come out in round one, potentially guns blazing. Potentially. And he comes in and he pressures Jake Paul from the jump. Jake Paul looks to either A, box him, or B, throw that right hand and look to just catch him clean and see what happens. And if we see the Mike that we think we're going to see come into this fight, he's either going to block it and come into the body, block it and slip, or block it, don't punch, force him to the corner, force him to the ropes, and have Jake Paul for the rest of the night fight on the back foot and get him tired. Because Jake Paul beefed up for this fight. Jake Paul got bigger to fight Mike Tyson. But we all know that his stamina has always been terrible. It's always been hard. He's been a bum when it came to boxing for the long game, even though it's 8 rounds. And we're going to see this man gas out. And we saw Mike Tyson for 8 rounds going up against Roy Jones Jr. The brother was still right and spry. And even haphazardly going for the win against Roy Jones Jr., he was still going for the win. You saw it. And he was still fresh and wanted to go 12. Now, 2-minute rounds allows him to rest, allows him to use up his energy without the fear of going out. Understanding he's got the stamina, oh yeah, he's going to make Jake Paul feel every inch of pressure and have to be forced to either fight back or use his legs, which he can't do. Now, we see once he gets on the inside, taking away that mid-range that we know Jake Paul loves to use, that's when he's going to be in trouble. And that's when we're going to see the body attack of Mike Tyson delete and destroy the mental fatigue and the physical fatigue that we're going to see Jake Paul have. And next thing you know, by round 4, Jake's in trouble. By round 4, now Jake understands, oh, this is Mike Tyson. This is who my father talked about. This is who the world saw as the baddest man on the planet. And then in round 5, it's going to happen. A hook off of a slip or an uppercut to the body that leads to an uppercut to the head, like the old Tyson combo that was a staple of his. He's going to catch him, he's going to knock him out. And we finally will see, hopefully, the end of Jake Paul as we know it. Of course, we understand that Jake Paul can catch Mike Tyson. We get it. But we don't want it. We don't want to see that. And Tyson has the ability and the knowledge and the physical traits, the mental acuity to be able to understand how to avoid that and take away that. Something that Jake Paul doesn't know how to do. He doesn't know how to take away opponents' leverage. He only knows how to use his own. When he gets forced to that reality, now everything's going to go all downhill. And he's going to get destroyed. I'm hoping it happens. That's what I'm saying is going to happen. We're going to see Mike Tyson do what everybody's been asking him to do and end this train that is Jake Paul. And I see a knockout. I see it going to happen. Flipping my opinion. Age, not going to worry about it. Not because it's not a factor, because it is something that I think Mike Tyson is one of the few people in the history of the globe, of this sport, that can truly overcome what should be the biggest dominating factor in why this fight shouldn't even happen in the first place, which it shouldn't. This is the reality that we're living in. And hopefully this comes true. And we see Jake Paul done in this sport. Wash our hands clean. And we ain't got to worry about it no more. And Tyson becomes the hero. The vaunted icon that we knew. One more time, Iron Mike came out and accomplished what we all wanted. Lived the dream one more time. That's all we asked for. Oh, and one more thing. The old Mike, Iron Mike, the alternate persona that Tyson has said that he has countless times, that he was always afraid of, he said he wanted that part of him to die. He said that that's back. Now he knows how to control it. This is like Bruce Banner being able to control the Hulk and become one, but not Professor Hulk style. I'm talking World Breaker Hulk style, if you know about comics, if you know about the Hulk truly. Not the Marvel version, no, the real version. That man took on every single major hero and dominated them with ease because he was one with himself. Banner and Hulk were on the same page. That's what we're going to see when it comes to Mike Tyson. And I'm excited for it. Potentially, I'm excited for it. I can't wait to see it. And if Jake Paul wins this fight, there will be no credit given. There will be no means to an end to say, oh yeah, this is impressive. You fought a 60-year-old man who hadn't fought competitively in over 20 plus years. And you took this as an opportunity to do the biggest clout thing possible and go against the sanctity and purity of the sport. You are going to be forever villain. We will hate you forever. It just could potentially backfire on you as the worst thing you could have done for your career, for your brand. You're going to be seen as a villain. There will be no respect. You'll be vilified. You'll be hunted, most likely by a lot of people. It's going to be bad. It's going to be bad. There's no win-win situation for Jake Paul in this fight. None. And for Mike, his legacy is set in stone. But what we want to see is Jake Paul utterly destroyed. And potentially a first-round knockout like we've seen him do countless times. Hey, that'll be great. One more time. Round the ringer. What Mike Tyson was and is as a boxer. If we see that, my gosh, incredible to watch. And I'll be so excited. But again, we'll have to wait and see up until next week. But we're going to see potentially Mike Tyson pull off the upset and do what we hope actually happens. Knock out Jake Paul. Can't wait. But again, with all that being said, it's going to be on Netflix on November 15th. We still got more boxing to cover as we have Jerron Boots Ennis returning to the ring. That's right. Oh, yeah. Boots is back. The man who is seen as the biggest contender to Terrence Crawford. He is coming back. He is returning in a rematch against Karen Shukajan. Oh, yeah. They fought against each other already. Now we get to see them legitimately go and fight against each other. Oh, Mapai, I'm sorry. I missed your comment. Oh, Tyson couldn't last more than 6 rounds. A 6-year-old Tyson couldn't last 2, in my opinion. Jake Paul wins. Well, again, we'll have to see. We covered on how he fought against Roy Jones and went 8 and was comfortably going 8. Now with 2-minute rounds and 8 rounds total, I think he'll be able to do it, and I think he'll be able to win. Again, understand Jake Paul's favorite. Think we're going to see Mike Tyson beat him. But again, all that aside, we got to talk about Boots and Karen Shukajan. They are rematching against each other. Again, Shukajan fought against Boots a couple years ago. It was a fight where Boots did win. Oh, yes, he did. But the problem was how he won. And how he won was nowhere close to what we needed to see from the impressive nature that we had been experiencing with Boots Ennis. Boots has been a knockout artist. Boots is now, was he 28 and 0? Was he 26, 28 no, 26 or 24 KOs? Whatever the case may be, he's got 2 less KOs than he does wins as a total, if I have my stats correctly. But you have to understand, we are looking at Boots, and we're saying we've seen you do all this stuff. David Evanesian, we saw you go and beat up and fight against, was it not David Evanesian? Who was the brother? It was, hold on. I got my notes. I got my stuff. Roman Villa. Yeah, Villa. And dominate both of them. Now going up against the opponent who, when I have been watching your career, this is one of the biggest struggles that you've had in your tenure as a boxer. It is. Karen Sugarjohn was one of the hardest fights that I've seen Jerron Boots Ennis go through in a long time. And it's because of the slick defensive style that we saw Karen Sugarjohn fight against Boots. It wasn't somebody that was flat-footed. It was somebody who's kept his distance, who boxed, who used the entirety of the ring, was able to pot shot and be safe, but while also being willing to throw leather in the midst of the fire. And there was a real argument I made in the fight on this channel that if we saw Karen go and make more of an offensive effort, be willing to throw his hands more in that fight against Boots the first time, there's a legitimate case that he could have gotten a draw, or dare I say gotten a split decision. Because he was doing work. Yes, he was. Boots was somebody that was struggling to some degree, as opposed to the constant domination that we had experienced all the other times. This is what we're looking at when it comes to Boots. Where is your evolution? You see it in the title. That's what we're asking. Are you going to evolve in this fight? Excuse me while I take a drink. Woo! Oh, that's good. That's great. That's phenomenal. But again, are we going to see Boots evolve as a fighter and turn into the man that we see him as, that can beat Terrence Crawford down the line? Or is it still going to be a learning curve that he just can't get over? Because now, understand, after Karen Sugarjohn, which I'm not going to say it sullied his rise, it didn't. But it gave us a credence to say, hey, everything that he was, he's not ready for when it comes to, 1, reaching his potential, and 2, competing with the best of the best. It's the truth. It wasn't. Now we see him going up and knocking out Roman Villa, knocking out David Evanesian. 2 impressive wins against Roman Villa. Before that time, he'd never been knocked down or knocked out before. And David Evanesian fought against Terrence Crawford. We covered that fight. We covered both of them. Now we get to see him against Karen Sugarjohn, an opponent that he faced that Terrence Crawford didn't face, but Terrence Crawford, we assume, wouldn't have struggled against him the same way that we saw Karen Sugarjohn give Boots some real trouble. If we see, this is what it all comes down to, if we see Boots struggle against Karen, again, not have a completely dominating performance, not have an absolute spectacular KO. Not saying the KOs are everything, but look like he is both comfortable and in control the entire time. It's going to be a problem. And again, I'm sorry, Boots' record is 32-0, 29 KOs. My apologies. But we're watching Boots and we're saying, this is one of your biggest tests to see if truly we can keep on saying you're ready for Terrence Crawford. You've gotten the title. You are a champion. You are legitimately now on the road to undisputed, if you so choose, in the welterweight division. You are, in my opinion, the best welterweight in the world right now. Now that Terrence Crawford and Errol Spence Jr. moved up. You can run the table. Or you can choose after this fight to move up. Whatever the case may be. If you are going to move up like you're hinting at doing because you want Crawford, you've got to show me that this style is something that you've overcome. Because if not, Terrence Crawford is somebody that can fight in any style, can do whatever he wants to do. Switch hitter, left or right handed, southpaw, can turn into a power puncher, can turn into a boxer, can turn into a defensive specialist. He's a chameleon when it comes to using and incorporating all facets of boxing. Not to mention on the fact he can turn into a dog if he wants to. He's got the power to knock out a bunch of people. Again, he was on an 11-fight win streak or rather an 11 fight KO streak. He was. This is a situation where if your boots, while the physical gifts are there, have you mentally adapted and gotten better at being able to do the very thing that you couldn't do against Karen Shukajan, which is stop an elusive defensive fighter. And what does he need to do to stop it? Well, one of the biggest things, as we break down the fight, the brother's got to cut off the ring. He's got to do it. He's got to do it. He's got to be able to cut off the ring. This isn't about running. This isn't about, oh, you aren't you don't want to actually fight. This isn't like that. We're not talking about that situation. We are talking about a Boots Ennis who indeed did not cut off the ring against Karen Shukajan. We're talking about a Boots Ennis who was struggling to keep up with the footwork of Karen because he would not let himself be put in danger, but he would still score with pot-shotting points, pot-shotting jabs, straight right hands off of a slip, going and bouncing the other direction, making Boots have to be forced to walk and stalk. But Boots could never get it done by cutting off the ring and making it so that he kept Karen in place. And then when he kept it in place, boom, Karen was happy to oblige. And he won some of those exchanges. Not all of them, but some of them. And the point I'm making is, what the very thing that could have won Karen Shukajan, throwing more punches, is the very thing that can get him knocked out and beaten by Boots even more definitively in this fight. If Boots can make it so that you have to throw punches like that in flurries, in combinations for the entirety of the fight, because now you can't get away. That's what we need to see Boots do. We have to see him do it. We can't not afford to see him do it, because if we don't see him do that, and we still see the same type of performance against Karen that we had against him the last time, then we have a legitimate argument to say that the last two opponents that you faced off against are the reason why that you got so much hype and appeal of recently. Because you fought against two flat-footed, come forward, aggressive fighters that relied on their power and shit. You did. That wanted to bulldoze their way through. Roman Villa and David Avenesi. That's what happened. And you look great against them. But now against somebody that can actually use better defensive posture, better defensive awareness, understands that his chin may not be the best, even if he's got a chin. He took some serious shots in that fight and kept on clicking when he fought against Karen Shukajan. Oh, excuse me, when Karen Shukajan fought against Boots the last time. But we're looking at a brother who you can force all of the defensive ability into strictly infight and get a KO. You can in this fight. If you are able to actually do what you need to do and cut off the ring and stop the pressure, or rather, stop the constant movement and force him into the fight that when he was in exchanges with you, slowly but surely you were getting him. This is what you can do. But if you don't show that you've improved, you don't show that you've learned, I'm going to have to give a different look at the Crawford versus Boots situation. I'm going to have to. We can't, as much of a fan as we are of Boots Ennis, as much of a dominating force that we know he can be, and that he is, as much as we know he's one of the most exciting fighters in the business, got the ability to run the table at welterweight, could go up to, 154, and legitimately give a bunch of fighters trouble. Absolutely. If we know what the ultimate goal is for him, which is Crawford, we can't just sit here and say favoritism is everything. The brother's got to be somebody that has evolved, show change, show that he's different, show that he's learned, show that this is not the same Boots that we saw a couple years ago. And that Boots was phenomenal. But it's going to take a step up. And against Karen, you got to show it. It ain't got to be in a KO. We understand every fight ain't going to end in KO. But it's got to end in a legitimate, fully dominating fashion. And the fight can't look the same as it was the first time you fought against him. Because if it looks the same, that means that there's still some problems. Because that last performance was still riddled with problems that you hadn't fixed at that point in time. And if we see that footwork and elusiveness is still giving you trouble with being able to stop what's coming at you, we got a problem. We do. Just objectively, we do. It's going to be interesting to see. Now, if he does go and knock out Karan Sugarjaw, this is where stuff gets interesting. If he goes and dominates Karan, now, well, in the words of JR,
Hey, look at this. We got some problems here. We got some problems here.
we got some problems. We got some problems when it comes to the world of boxing. Because now, hey, everything that we saw Boots Ennis potentially would struggle with, that brother now is right at the ship. And Lucinus can't face that brother. Not just coming forward and he doesn't just look good at coming forward and dominating against another come forward fighter. Oh, this brother can cut off the ring religiously. This man can stop defensive slickness with smart technical precision. This is a man. Hey, we see that. We got a even better conversation now for Terrence Crawford versus Boots Ennis. We got a better conversation. Now that's more of a 50-50 fight than I could ever dream of in this ethos of boxing. Oh, it'd be incredible. It'd be phenomenal. It would be absolutely stupendous. Now to break down that fight. Because physically, there's an argument that they are both on equal footing. And mentally, while we know Crawford is a better mental boxer, Boots as a whole, if he can show that he can cut off the ring and has evolved from Karan, from the first fight that we saw him fight against Karan Sugarjaw. You want to talk about some conversations there. You want to talk about some real interesting facets of the boxing world that we have to unravel and truly discuss when it comes to what that match is going to be. It's going to be phenomenal. Oh gosh, I can't wait for it. I cannot wait. It's going to be so exciting. So exciting. We're going to have to see this weekend. As well as with this weekend, we also got Bam Rodriguez fighting on the same card in an absolute spectacular fashion. Going and fighting against Pedro Guevara. Cool, buddy. Another display of dominance potentially is on the way. Pedro Guevara, I believe, is 44-2 with one draw on his record. We're looking at a man who legitimately has been around the ringer. He's not a great fighter, but again, he upset Andrew Maloney, brother of Jason Maloney, to go and get this opportunity for the WBC Super Flyweight Championship. And this is going to be, this is going to be fun. This is going to be incredibly fun. This is, again, a top 5. At least top 5, top 10 pound for pound boxer in the world right now. Somebody who is eyeing down, in a way, as a potential mega fight down the line. There's a storm of brewing. These small weight classes, these lightweights, lightweight all the way down to flyweight, we got dogs under 140. And they are moving. And Bam is leading the charge as one of the two generals with him and Noi Inoue and Junto Nakatani. This is going to be it's going to be a spectacular thing if this road keeps going and we see Bam continue to dominate. Excuse me. But we also got him defending his WBC title against Pedro Guevara, and against Pedro Guevara, most likely we're going to see this in a knockout. If you follow what Pedro is and what Pedro is, at least what we saw with his last fight against Maloney. We saw this brother, he's good at controlling distance, absolutely. But what he's bad at is getting his head off the center line when he throws combination punches. He loves to throw combination punches. Oh, yes, he does. Absolutely. This man will want to go 2 to the body, 1 to the head, 1 upstairs, 2 downstairs. He'll throw and leave himself open. He'll keep his chin up in the air when he goes on the attack. There's a lot of nuances that he does that while it may look cool in terms of what his style is, the brother's got a lot of flaws. And when it comes to Bam Rodriguez, the absolute insane fighter that he is, we're going to see this man come through and absolutely, and I do mean absolutely, destroy Pedro Guevara and go in a situation where he dominates and attacks him to the body. And then boom, catches him upstairs. Or just beats him out to the body outright. Because with how Guevara fights, the way his guard is and the way his defensive style is, he's open, not just for the southpaw jab that we know Bam has that is deceptively long, incredibly strong, and is so fast. But also, that left hand that's coming right behind it, open target. Or left hook that Guevara won't see coming. Boom, catches him, getting him out of there. And if he doesn't choose just to box Guevara outright, which I know he could, which I believe he's not going to. We're most likely going to see this brother come in and oblige on the combination spectacle that we know Guevara likes to do. Once Guevara sees that he can't keep his distance from Bam Rodriguez, and next thing you know, we are going to see this brother attack the body. That's what Guevara likes to do. He'll oblige. Just like we saw against Juan Francisco Estrada. Attack the body. Attack downstairs of Pedro Guevara and get him out of there. And we're going to see him systematically break down the gas tank and the will of Guevara. Next thing you know, we're waiting for him to go upstairs. And then boom, catches that brother. Destroys that brother. He's going to be over. Or just like with Juan Francisco Estrada, catch him with a hook to the body. And ends the show. It's going to be a spectacle for him to watch. Or for us to watch, excuse me. For him to enjoy. And we're going to see why, again, Bam Rodriguez, from a talent perspective, while his pound-for-pound status right now is top 5 or top 8, rightfully so, this man is quickly going to move up the ranks and be in conversations for top 3 as his career continues to develop. One of my favorite fighters, period. And if you don't know Bam, you need to get to know this brother, because this is a man who embodies everything great about boxing. And he not just doesn't run from competition, but the way that he fights invites competition to want to go and try to prove themselves to be great. Because he's just that good. He's that good. We're going to see that on display. Going to continue to be undefeated, defend his title. If he goes for undisputed, hey, that'd be great. If he goes and moves up, now takes a shot at bantamweight, now we get to see something interesting, because now he's in the realm of Junto Nakatani. And Nakatani's already in the works, potentially, if we see Inoue fight and beat Sam Goodman on Christmas Eve, December 24th this year. He's in line to fight Inoue next year in Las Vegas. That's what Bob Arum said that he wants to do. But when it comes to the grander scheme, Bam Rodriguez, if he moves up, not saying he will, if he chooses to move up after this fight and fight at bantamweight, oh boy, now three of some of the best in the world are within 2 pounds of each other. And let's say Inoue stays at 122 longer than we expect. We can see all 3 of them fight against each other. Legitimately. Bam versus Nakatani at 120. Winner of that goes up to Inoue, or Inoue versus Nakatani. They fight. Winner of that, now, hey, takes the reins, takes the helm. It's probably the best boxer in the world. And then boom, now, what happens? We see one of them fight Bam Rodriguez. It's going, boy, storms are brewing. I'm telling you. Storm is brewing in the realm of boxing. And it's so fun to see. It's so fun to see. Oh, and by the way, before I forget, last thing on this boxing segment, we got to talk about Floyd Schofield. I didn't get to talk about it when it first happened. But we saw Floyd Schofield fight against Rene Hiron. Was it last week? And there is some real concern. Oh my. Oh my. Oh my indeed. Because now we see Floyd Schofield is a brother who is not ready for the elite of 135. No, he ain't. No, he ain't at all. No, sir. That got proved. The brother got buzzed in round 3. Got knocked down, I believe, in round 7. He is a man who turned his back on his opponent when he could have gotten cold hard clock just because he thought he got hit in the back of the head. We're looking at a man who is still immature. He's only 22. Yes, he still is a man who is willing and able to evolve, mature, adapt, and get better. We understand it. We were saying that he should have been one of the opponents that Tank should have fought instead of Lamont Welch. And I still stand by that. Because we want to see Tank fight at or above 135 and nowhere close to below that weight class. It makes no sense to fight below that weight class. It really doesn't. Why? I don't know. Yes, like we said before, stuff was sparse, but options were still there. 140 was still there. Oh, yes, it was. And the fact that he didn't take it, it still boggles my mind. But even still, that's neither here nor there. When it came to having Floyd Schofield as one of the names to fight, I still stand by. He would have been better to fight him just for the sake of rapport. rather than fighting Lamont Roach. But now we see that fight would have gone even quicker due to the fact that he's just not prepared. There's too much stuff. As sharp as he looks, as much as he looks like an incredible talent, speed's incredible. The physical makeup is absolutely phenomenal. Excuse me for a moment. The raw physical ability is indeed there. Oh, yes, it is. There's no question in my mind about that. But the issue is the man mentally still's got a lot to learn. He's still got a lot to learn. Instead of being more defensively sound, he wants to go into firefights. I'm watching the fight right now, back as I'm talking about it, to make sure I'm right. And doggone it, yeah, I'm right. The brother was hurt and buzzed and still went to go toe to toe. Not saying that we don't admire the warrior spirit, but you also gotta be smart about this when you're going and boxing and fighting. At the higher levels of boxing, even against your fellow confidant and equal in terms of rising status as Abdullah Mason, people like that, they'll take you out. You try to go into a firefight like that, they will take you out. They will go and they will end you. They will not let you recover. They will not let you be able to survive the round. Their punches will not just miss when y'all are throwing in the trenches and they know that you're buzzed. No. The art of clinching is still an art. Because it's not just fighting on the inside, but knowing when to clinch. Say what you want about how much we may not like it. It is a necessary tactic. And if you don't learn how to use it, especially when you're in trouble, that's a problem. And with Floyd, that's a problem. He gets so enamored with trying to go for the shots. Which, again, they're tight, they're sharp, they look great. But it is the mental acuity is still not there for what he needs to be as a boxer to be able to make sure that he's able to survive and thrive at the elite or the higher elite levels. There's a problem. There is a problem. There is no question about it. There is a problem. If he doesn't fix that problem, we have a major issue. Major issue. Absolutely horrible thing to go down with Floyd Schofield right now. His stock, again, it's not tanked. It's not horrible. He's still a great boxer. Still one of the rising stars at lightweight. Still somebody who I can see being a champion and being one of the faces of the division in 3 or 4 years. But what it's going to take now, he's been shown to have holes. Big holes. Huge problems that he's going to have to go and fix. If he keeps wanting to call out people like Shakur Stevenson, like Lomachenko, if he's even around still by that time, like Tank Davis. If he wants to fight against those people and call them out, get their name in the atmosphere to be able to actually have an opportunity to fight them, brothers got to be prepared. And Floyd Schofield is not prepared. He's not ready. He is not ready to fight against the likes of Tank. He will get picked apart by Shakur. He will get knocked out by Tank. He might get knocked out by Shakur as well, potentially. With Shakur's countering ability, even though we know that brother's hands just aren't powerful. He could still, hey, Abdullah Mason, that would be a phenomenal fight to see. But between him and Floyd, it would be an interesting sight. And many people after this performance would take would take Abdullah Mason as the man to beat Floyd Schofield. Now, I personally want to see that fight happen because I would love to see an opportunity to see a trilogy between those two as they keep on evolving and changing. An incredible fight between two of hot prospects in the boxing realm. I want to see that. Absolutely. Absolutely. But the thing is, it's got to be, he's got to produce and perform. Got to produce and perform. And if he doesn't produce and perform on a level that looks not just eye-catching, but again, what have I said multiple times? The small stuff in boxing is what beats you. The small stuff in boxing is what dictates great boxers from just absolute. You are a threshold fighter. You are a gatekeeper. You are just below what it takes to be a champion. Is the small stuff. It is these small, minute things that make or break somebody in the ranks of this game. That's what Floyd's got to deal with. Fix the small stuff. And if he does, That's great. If he does, that's phenomenal. If he doesn't, hey, it's an issue. It's a problem. He's got to fix it. And if he doesn't, we are going to have some real conversations about the potential future of Floyd. Though it's young and though it is still phenomenal. It's going to be incredibly interesting. Incredibly interesting indeed. But again, we see I want to talk about in the world of sports as we transition out of the world of boxing into the world of the NBA, as we had to discuss multiple things in basketball going on as the league is 10 games to the season, roughly 10 games into the season for a lot of teams. We got people, Cleveland Cavaliers undefeated. The Warriors are 7-1. Both of the two best teams in the league right now, shocking everybody. One, because nobody expected Cleveland to be this great at this point in time, but also two, the Warriors, with them being potentially gutted, having this relatively the same lineup but worse with less leaders, like with Klay Thompson and a degrading Draymond Green. All of a sudden they're still spry and high. They're still at the top of their game, and it looks like, shoot, are we going to see 2022 all over again with this Warriors squad? It is a legitimate, awe-inspiring thing. What the Warriors has Steve Kerr done to make this squad actively be able to play above what their talent looks like and above what the normal game plan of the Warriors normally works. Because without the core pieces, everybody was saying it's going to stumble and fall. And with the failure of Klay Thompson, even with adding Buddy Hield, it was going to be, well, there's no way it's going to work to the same degree as we saw with Klay, Steph, and Dre as the main trio that was able to dominate the league for oh so long. It's a shocking turn of events. Is it going to stay? I don't know. But it's looking like it might. Because I was saying all this trash talk about the Warriors up until they faced off against the Boston Celtics. And they beat them, which blew my mind. They beat the Boston Celtics. The fact that they beat the Boston Celtics now gives me credence to say, oh, this isn't a fluke. Oh, this ain't just some odd happenstance. Oh, this seems legit. Oh, this seems real. Oh, this team wants to beat somebody. There is no lost hope in Golden State. It is legitimate. It's absolutely legitimate. And honestly, if this keeps up 20 games into the season, shoot, we could be seeing another Cinderella story, which is, again, insane to say. But the offense is free flowing. It's free flowing. The defense is actively getting after it. Kuminga, Gary Payton Jr., Steph. Again, as much of as looking like a lame threat that we've seen him be in the past. It's incredible. On top of the fact that now we get to see a team seemingly rejuvenated with life, players that we were waiting on to actually take hold and evolve and produce are actually doing that now as the prospects that we saw them as, like Kuminga, like, what's his name, Popinski, the redhead brother, I forget his name, starts with a P. It's Buddy Hield, again, showing he gels perfectly with Steph Curry. And Steph still being Steph. Oh, it's a scary sight to see. Scary sights to see for the rest of the league. It's going to be incredibly interesting. And now that they beat Boston, they are now no longer just a facade. Oh, they're real. Oh, they're absolutely real. And then on the flip side of the coin, when it came to the man that they gave away in Klay Thompson because they needed to make a change, seemingly they were right. They needed a change, and that change worked. And on the flip side of the coin, Klay Thompson, I will be the first one to say I was wrong. I was wrong. I was absolutely wrong when it comes to Klay Thompson. I was wholeheartedly wrong when it comes to what Klay Thompson is. I said that brother was going to be a defensive liability. I said that his shooting is going to be going worse and worse and worse as it had gone for over 2 years. He had been exposed as somebody who you just don't got it no more. Your shooting is off. Your defense is off. Your ability to flow is no longer there. Game 6 Klay was now seemingly nowhere to be found. An afterthought. The 0-10 in an elimination game. And now, but is averaging 14 points. Has had a couple 20-point games, shooting upwards of just about 40% from three. And it's looking phenomenal for the Dallas Mavericks. I was wrong, and I'll wholeheartedly say that. This was a great pickup for Dallas. This was a great pickup for Luka and Kyrie. This is exactly what we needed for Klay to be able to actually fit the role that we thought, if at his best he could do, but at his worst he would take away from, being the floor stretcher, being the guy to take the weight off of Klay and Kyrie, or not Klay, off of Luka and Kyrie, being able to get back to some semblance of legitimate threat for the offense to have to focus on you even when you're off the ball. Get back to that, and now this Dallas Mavericks team is going to be wonders. And now it's working. It is working. It's working incredibly. It is working incredibly well, shockingly well. It is again, they're 5-3 on the year. It's an incredible sight to see. Offensively, they look phenomenal. Defensively, Klay is nowhere close to the liability that I thought he would have been as a producer, as a performer, as a player. Like, I'm eating my own words. I'm eating my own words. There's nothing else I can say or that needs to be said because they're working. It works. Dallas and Klay work. And if this keeps up and we see Klay continue this path of continued consistent success, consistent shooting, and dare I say, he gets better. He gets back to, again, he was shooting bad and scoring 17 on the Warriors. If he's shooting like this and performing like this and is able to get back to that 17-point spread that he was doing on the Warriors even when he was declining, oh my indeed. You want to talk about a scary sight for the entire league? This is something that, for a lot of fans, it does their heart good, and understandably so. And for people that said that they wouldn't be successful, like me, yeah, I'm wrong. I'm wrong, and I'll proudly say I'm wrong. There's nothing else to say. Klay is showing up and showing out. And because he's showing up and showing out, all we need to know is if this keeps up, Dallas, hey, there's a legitimate opportunity to get back to a title, to get back to a situation where you are in contention for a championship and for an opportunity to get revenge on the very thing that cost you. It's incredible to see, and I am excited for it. I'm legitimately excited for it. And also, beyond just the Western Conference of the Warriors and Dallas, let's talk about the Lakers show. Huh? Sadly, the honeymoon period is over. And we're looking at Los Angeles and we're saying, hey, wait a minute now. Is there a situation where we overshot the gun on what makes this Lakers squad so good? We still are saying J.J. Redick is a better coach than Darvin Ham. That is nowhere close to a question. But now, that's not everything that they need. Because now they are 4-3? Maybe even 4-4 with their last loss. And in a situation where this Lakers squad does not look nearly as cohesive as the start when they went 3-0. Now they're 4-4. And the teams that they lost to, like Detroit, they shouldn't have lost to. What is the problem? And is it that we overrated Darvin Ham? Or that we overrated J.J. Redick? Is it that we gave J.J. Redick too much credit? And maybe J.J. Redick isn't actually a good coach? No. I don't think that's what the problem is. Because if you still watch this team, offensively, they look so much better than they did last season or the last couple of seasons under the tutelage of Darvin Ham, which was no tutelage at all. No actual game plan at all. This is the truth. That is the outright truth. AD's having his best season since he left New Orleans. The best scorer in the NBA right now. One of the leading candidates, if not the leading candidate, for Defensive Player of the Year. So he's been playing like he needs to play. We just saw LeBron have 39. Dalton Connect still looking great. Austin Reeves still doing Austin Reeves. The starting core still looks like it's putting up good stuff. But the issue is more so than coaching. It's personnel. They don't have a bench that can do what they need to do And specifically, when it comes to D'Angelo Russell, he has been shooting them in the foot. And we've been saying this for 3 years. If you watch the Lakers, the brother consistently is an up and down roller coaster. Every single time he's good, hey, he's great. But then when he's bad, oh, he's bad. Both on the defensive and offensive end of the floor. Oh, he can get hot. He can put up some threes. He can hit 3 or 4 in a row once he's feeling it. But on the flip side of that, still makes dumb decisions, still takes shots that he doesn't need to take, still at times halts the offense by jacking up a shot early in the shot clock without letting the play even develop. The freedom that we see D'Angelo Russell play for is both a blessing and a curse on this Lakers squad. And on top of that, the depth of the rest of the team just isn't there. It just isn't. No disrespect to Cam Reddish, disrespect to Gabe Vincent, but there's a bunch of people on that roster that they just don't add anything. And what they were brought to do on this Lakers squad, they can't do. Nearly to the best of their ability. Gabe Vincent was a merchant of the Miami Heat culture. And the multiple times they got to the finals and were able to succeed, he looked phenomenal. Oh, yes, he did. But at the same vein, the brother was shielded to some degree. Now when he's put on the limelight of the Lakers, or any team that's not Miami, hey, one GM said it best, don't get any role player that's on Miami. Because most likely when you get them, they're going to fail. That's exactly what we see with Gabe Vincent. And they paid this brother 3 years, $30 million. Now, defensively, he's supposed to be a defensive menace, or at least a defensive help. Ain't that? And offensively, shooting-wise, we don't want him to shoot. We don't want him to do anything, if we're being completely honest. If you're watching this team and if you are a Lakers fan, it is horrible what we're seeing from this team because the depth of this team just isn't there. Vando's hurt. Now Jackson Hayes is hurt. We don't even know if he's going to be on the team after a couple of weeks with what he's got going on legally. Oh my gosh. We're looking at a roster who they are top heavy. Love Rui Hachimura. Love AD. Love LeBron. Love Austin Reeves. Dalton Connect may even be getting into the starting lineup down the line. If not already, because I believe we got in there last game. But that's not enough. Vanderbilt's hurt. Again, Cam Reddish he had one decent game. Now people are questioning whether he needs to be in the starting lineup when before that, the brother wasn't playing well at all. Was supposed to be a defensive person, a defensive stopper for this squad, athletic defensive stopper, still hasn't shown that on a consistent basis either. There is a lot of holes in the depth of this team that make the Lakers, while they have a coach that knows how to bring the best out of their people. If their people just can't produce, that is a problem. It is. It just is. And we have to wait and see whether or not they make the necessary moves. And if they do, we'll see a fix. Again, they got Christian Coloco. He is a brother who they got from the Raptors as another center. Hey, now that he's cleared, they bring him on and actually play him. But it could be good. It could be. But I don't know. But there's got to be something. Max Christie isn't producing. Gabe Vincent ain't producing. Hood Schifino, they already trying to get that butt out of there. Denying the option, but he's still on the team. They just ain't going to play him. A waste of a roster spot. Bonnie James sent down to the G League. If it isn't Austin Reeves, Rui, AD, Braun, Dalton Connect, it ain't great. It ain't. This team thrives on athleticism, size, defense, and fast break opportunities, as they've done ever since they won the championship in 2020. Now they need to build around that and truly play to those strengths. Getting outboarded, and even though AD is playing phenomenally defensively, you still need more people to be able to cover that spread defensively on both the perimeter and on the interior. To give him a break and also to have some level of more athleticism and defensive hustle on all sides of the floor to be able to make it so that you can actively produce and perform. So that now you have a well-oiled machine that now fits the identity of the squad. Because offensively, you got it. We know what you're doing. You're playing through AD. You got your shooters in Reeves and Dalton Connect. LeBron turns it on when he needs to, and then plays facilitator for everything else. But people like D'Angelo Russell, Gabe Vincent, Chris Maxey, or Max Christie, excuse me, and others, there's got to be a shift and a change in that depth, because if not, it's going to fail. And speaking of failure, the Milwaukee Bucks are absolutely terrible, horrible, utter disgust when it comes to the world of basketball. And did not tell you what was going to happen, what was going to transpire. The Bucks have a problem in Darvin Ham and Giannis Antetokounmpo. We can't even blame AD. We can't even blame Dame and Giannis anymore for not being able to play well on the same nights. Because for the past couple of games, they combined for 63 points in multiple games. Last game, they combined for 65. Another game, both of them had 30 to 40 points. Giannis nearly had a double-double, triple-double. They've been playing great cohesively as a unit. They figured it out. They're turning into the dynamic duo that we thought they would be when Dame first got onto the Bucks. Now, they're doing their part. But everything else is seemingly falling apart. Losing leads, constantly faltering and failing, consistently seemingly getting out of sorts. Defensive intensity nowhere close to what it used to be. Offensively, they seem outside of Dame and Giannis, out of whack. And it's because of the minds of Darvin Ham and Doc Rivers. I told you it wouldn't work. I told you it would fail. I told you it would be a constant problem. And what do we see now? It's a constant problem. The brothers are completely a cancer to the entire makeup of this squad as a duo. We already knew Doc Rivers had a sketchy history as a coach, and consistently when put in a position to succeed, never does because of his own ineptitudes when making a game plan. Now you pair it up with somebody that didn't have a game plan in the first place. It's horrible. It's terrible. This is absolutely the bottom of the barrel, worst case scenario. And ironically enough, this is what Giannis wanted. Giannis asked for Doc Rivers. Giannis went away from Adrian Griffin. I believe that was his name. Who got him to 30-12 on the year before he left. They haven't been 500 since. In terms of a record as a whole, since they left him, or since they let him go. It's been a complete different team entirely. It's been horrible. It has been terrible when it comes to what Doc Rivers and what Darvin Ham have made this organization into. If they don't get rid of one of them, if not both of them, it's a problem. It's going to be struggles. We're going to see Dame and Giannis do better and better and better. Absolutely. But on the whole, there's a reason why they're 2-7. There's a reason why they're bottom in the Eastern Conference. There's a reason why we were saying that they have the equipment to be a top 5 team, and now they're a bottom 5 team. Dare I say the second worst in the league. And it's all because of 2 people. Darvin Ham and Doc Rivers. They can't coexist. They can't gel. They can't work. It won't work. It's impossible for it to work when it comes to this team. It just can't. And because it can't, they don't get it out of there. Major problem. Major problem as a whole. And finally, was one of the biggest stories of this entire NBA season has been the 76ers. And my goodness, if you ever needed Joel Embiid before, you sure do need him now. Because this is a situation where they are in dire straits as an organization. We are looking at again another team that should have been at the top of the conference are now 1-6, but last in the East. Last, dare I say, in the entire NBA, or at least tied with the Jazz. This is and again, Paul George coming back from injury, first game back, wasn't great, understandable. Now Joel Embiid just got suspended 3 more games from when he was put on essentially IR because he lied about what his status was. Essentially, again, paraphrasing what happened with the league and finding them and punishing them for why Joel Embiid was sitting out. Now, this is exactly the problem. I was saying Max Christie was averaging 30. And he was trying to carry the load. And it got them to the last in the East. And last in the NBA. And now they're going to have to play from the back burner. They're going to have to play going up. Games back multiple times. They have to struggle with trying to go and succeed. Trying to go and get and claw themselves just back to 500 within the conference. And we don't even know Joel Embiid is going to be able to pull him out, because if he's not playing back-to-back games, we could see a constant win-loss, win-loss, win-loss. They still stay the same way. Last or bottom of the conference. Not even getting into the play-in. There is a problem in the 76ers because you don't have the health to be able to get through the season. And even the ramifications to make yourself healthy to get through the season are going to make it so that you don't even get through the postseason. Because you don't make it to the postseason because you get bounced out. Because you don't have enough wins. Because you don't have your stars constantly playing. One by force because of injury, and the other in Joel Embiid by choice because you're not going to play back-to-back. It is an issue. It is an issue that is transpiring around the 76ers organization. And that if they don't find a way to get Joel Embiid to play back-to-back games, they're not going to make the postseason. There is a legitimate argument. They won't make the postseason. They won't make any form of real success when it comes to making a run. And they should be one of the better teams in the Eastern Conference. It shouldn't be that they're at the bottom of the barrel and have to fight their way back. When you got Maxey, PG, and you got somebody like Joel Embiid, former MVP, the second best center in the league, and a top 5 player in the NBA as a whole. It shouldn't be that you're playing this spot when you have actual talent around you. But yet, here we are. And this is not going to end well. I don't think it's going to end well at all. It's going to be a problem. Major problem for this team. And if the 76ers don't find a way to get Joel Embiid to play back-to-back, they're going to continue to be an offense that is only relying on, again, Max Christie and nobody else. And the whole, and I do mean the whole of this team, is going to be like, what did we do all this for? What was the purpose? What was the reason? What was the point? What was the point? What was the point of having Joel Embiid rest if we still don't even get an opportunity to use him in the season? Because we don't make the postseason. Barely averaging 100 points, barely averaging 110 points, averaging 107. Ain't got no assists because, hey, it's a one-man show, one-man team. Defensively, you're a liability. Offensively, you have only one person that's actually able to score for you. You are a mess. You're bottom in almost every statistic. It is, I'm telling you, it is a major problem that we're seeing when it comes to this team actually have any form of real hierarchy. By the time All-Star break comes, mark my words, we're going to be saying, Sixers, what have you done? What the world have you done? And you better put Joel Embiid now out consistently for the world to see and never let him sit down again. Because if you do, crash and burn. Crash and burn. And you're going to miss the postseason. We're going to be saying it was all for what? It was all for nothing. That's exactly what we're going to say. It was all for nothing. Don't want that to be the case, but that's what's looking like it's going to happen. It's all contingent on if they make the move. Once Joel Embiid gets back, you cannot sit him down. You can't. You are forced now to actively go and make the move and work and play. There's no more just sitting around doing nothing. You can't. You can't afford it. Cannot afford it. But again, this is it. This is the show. We are officially gone through about every second that we've got, and we're getting ready to get out of here. It has been a great hour and 19 minutes, and we have, again, covered so many topics. This is y'all's time to shine. If anybody's got anything else to say, anybody got anything else they want to comment, talk through, talk about, debate, discuss, we're all for it. We're all here. We can talk about anything and everything. And the floor is yours to put in the comment section. Put in whatever debate you want to talk about. Any questions, any comments, anything you just want to do, just saying what's up. Whether you enjoyed the show, whether you ain't like the show, topics that you want to discuss in the future, whatever you got, we can talk about right now. The world is you all's oyster, and we're here for the ride to make it so that you can have the best experience possible. We at the end of the show covered everything we need to cover. Is there anything anybody else needs to say? Anything anybody else wants to say? And speak now or forever hold your peace, because if not, We get ready to push through and get out of here. This has been a phenomenal show. This has been a phenomenal take. Again, whatever you want to talk about, whether it's more Mike Tyson, dream matches with Mike and whoever, Mike versus Liston, Mike versus Frazier, Mike versus the prime George Foreman, who would win that? If you want to talk about the legacies of different boxers and fighters, if you want to discuss people like, let's say Shakur Stevenson, what his career trajectory could potentially be once he faces off and returns to the ring, if that fight between him and Tank will actually ever happen. All of this, if we see Tank move up, can he face off and beat the likes of Teofimo Lopez, which looks like to be one of the better fights? Ryan Garcia fighting against Teofimo Lopez, another fight that looks to be a phenomenal display potentially in Ryan Garcia's return. We could also talk about Ryan Garcia and the likes of and his exhibition that's being talked about in Dubai, again separate from Turkish Al Sheikh, but the brothers are gonna fight again at some point in time, potentially end of this year, early next year. What is it that you want to talk about? We got the world to discuss, and you can put whatever you want. You can. In fact, real quickly, we can talk about Ryan Garcia coming and returning against an exhibition, against an unknown opponent that's being talked about. If that fight does indeed go down, I'm not gonna lie, that's pretty smart. Because you want to be spry, you want to be healthy, you want to be able to consistently not have ring rust, even with you not being able to fight sanctioned. Now with an exhibition, keeps you busy, keeps you focused, keeps you being able to still have an opportunity to step in the ring while you are going through this whole, not litigation is the wrong word, this whole punishment of you being banned for a year. Prepping yourself to, if you are indeed serious about fighting Teofimo Lopez at 140, if you're going to fight him, you're going to need to have this level of spry and lack of ring rust by fighting an exhibition. You're going to need it. You're going to need it. So to a degree, that's smart. That is incredibly smart when it comes to what this landscape of boxing needs to be for the track record of Ryan Garcia. We know the drugs. We know the punishment. We know the crime. Yes. But if we still want to see him at his best as cleanly as possible when he returns, it's going to take more than just in-ring or it's going to take more than just work inside the gym. Don't want to be out for so long that you now lose what makes you you. Every boxer ain't like that. And with Ryan Garcia, it's understandable. Who he's going to fight, I have no clue. I have no clue. I don't know who he's going to face. I don't know what opponent's going to be in front of him. I don't even know it's going to be a great opponent, period. Right now, there's somebody who got put out on a poster, but I don't know if even that's confirmed or not. But even still, it's a smart decision. And in the grand scheme of things, if we see him fight Teofimo Lopez down the line, my gosh, say what you want about Ryan Garcia. Now there's going to be a situation where the brother has fought Devin Haney, Tank Davis, and Teofimo Lopez. At that point in time, that was the four kings straight up of this modern era of lightweight boxing. That was it. Teo, Ryan, Tank, and Devin. Those were the four people that made up some of the biggest names in the sport, all within the same weight class. And if he goes through and fights them, he would have successfully fought all of them. And it's a testament to the brother. He will not give up in fighting the best competition possible. It is something to behold when it comes to what he is and what he's doing as a boxer. You can't disrespect it. You can't. It's impossible. It's impossible to disrespect it. Because the man is continually taking test after test after test after test. Now, can he beat Teofimo Lopez? Well, that's for another show. We'll get to that absolutely later on. But this is going to be, hey, the challenges are there and people want to take them. Everybody else can get in line also and do the same thing. Will they? The question's unknown. Will they is the question. But if it happens, great. But the main point is Ryan Garcia, if he stays busy and if he shows that he's still going to be committed to this sport and this sport only, to forget distractions, forget opportunities outside of boxing, forget all the rah-rah that we saw for a couple months after the suspension that was just belligerent and stupid. Forget all that and you stay focused on the ring with what we saw you do against Devin Haney. Oh, yeah. Oh, he can. There's an opportunity that we can say he can beat Teofimo Lopez, even though he's better than Teo down the line. It's incredibly possible. It's entirely possible. But he's got to stay focused. His career is in the balance, and he's got to stay focused. If he doesn't stay focused as Ryan Garcia, we got issues. We got problems. Oh my gosh. We have some legitimate issues going in when it comes to what Ryan Garcia is going to be. It's scary. It's preposterously scary. And we don't want to see that happen against a budding star, that he loses himself and loses what could be a great career. But right now, if he stays focused and what we saw against Devin Haney, he continues to improve on, and nothing else goes awry, then you talking about a real opportunity against the best of the best. Oh my. To be able to go and beat Devin Haney another time that actually counts if they ever get a rematch, which I think they will, and beat Teofimo Lopez, and eventually, as they talked about on social media, potentially get another shot and crack at Gervonta Davis at 140. Oh, the brother not only will potentially have fought everybody, but circled back around to fight everybody. To the first man that beat him. It is going to be something incredible to see. And I can't, brother, you want to talk about an interesting turn of events? I am excited for it, and I can't wait for it. It's going to be something incredible. But again, we can talk about that later on another show. Right now, if anybody else got anything to say, anything else they want to discuss, speak now. But if that is indeed the end, then ladies and gentlemen, this has been another episode of The Welch Report with me, Jean-Luc Welch. Thank you so much for tuning in and listening to the show. That is right at our new start time, 12 o'clock. We are going to do this again every Tuesday and Thursday, and minimum every Thursday. We're going to try to do every Tuesday and Thursday also. But now, hey, this is great. This is phenomenal. We got traction. We got listeners. We got an audience. We got ourselves some rapport. It's going to be incredible to watch as this entire community continues to grow and unfold. Please go on and share the show, share the channel, share this live, and leave a like on the video. Comment your thoughts and opinions. Post me if you're going to rewatch it on whatever we talked about. Share the show with anybody that you know, and let's keep on building up this show, making it the best it can be. I've been John Welch. Y'all have been wonderful. Peace and love. And we are out of here. Oh, yes, indeed. Thank you so much. Yeah, that's it. We gone. We are over. We finished. And I will catch you all on the flip side next time. See ya. Be safe. Enjoy the fights this weekend. We'll be back next week.